Hello everyone, welcome back to the Anxiety Project YouTube channel. Today we are exploring the anxiety sensations and the feelings pertaining to the sensations because it's a vicious loop. So let's make this loop more clear, because a lot of the time anxiety sufferers can't, most of the time, and this is including myself when I used to suffer from anxiety, the meaning and the fact are ill-defined. Meaning the fact is I'm suffering and I'm in pain, but the meaning behind it, it's not so clear. I don't understand. I just don't understand the connection here. And a lot of the time when people come to psychotherapy, they make all these connections known. And so when you build upon the wisdom of confronting the snake, because the snake is the symbol of what you know and what you don't know at the same time. So when you confront the snake, you actually build the wisdom, and out of the wisdom is extracted the understanding. And that's when you are closer to God or your higher power or potential, however you want to put it. So today, let's talk about these feelings. Let's talk about anxiety, because the feelings are the outcome of the emotions. And the emotions are the result of one or more many of life's uncertainties that have popped up. It's the snake that has both what you know and don't know embedded within it, because when you start to study the snake, the thing that you just don't want to confront and contend with, you become wiser. You build on this house, and from that wisdom, you understand. Now, the snake, what's embedded within it is, how the problem of all problems is embedded within the snake, because the snake is a problem, but once you start to contend with one snake and solve that, and then you do that again with the next snake, you then become the solver of all problems, and then this builds on your confidence, and you can solve problems because you've dealt with really difficult problems. But my old self, I was always avoiding the uncertainty and the snakes of existence. So I didn't, like, when one problem came up, it was too overwhelming because my glass was already full of emotion. It was overflowing of what I didn't understand, and it was overflowing of emotions and uncertainties. And so when any other novelty entered, it would send me even more into anxiety. So we all inhabit a frame of how we conduct ourselves day to day in the world. So the frame is certainty and met desires. Desires that are met. And it can be as vague as, well, I just want to wake up and feel normal in the morning. I just want to wake up in the morning and just have everything just be okay, right? It could just mean that. Right? And a lot of the time, anxiety sufferers wake up and they're like dreading the day. And why? Is because, what's populating their mind? Well, problems. Many problems, right? Not just one, which it could be just one, but many problems, which means there are too many obstacles in their goal-directed behavior. The desires are not being met. Because the body wants to run automatically with the least amount of resistance possible, but with all these obstacles, it wakes up with a garbage dump of problems that are unresolved. And it makes sense, because if there's a snake hidden behind your refrigerator and you know it's there, try going to bed until that snake is out of the house. You're not going to sleep. It's going to torment your mind until you get rid of the damn snake. So we are automatically, organically pushed or triggered or sent into this alert state, this anxiety response, where this response is how we confront the unknown, right? We have to be alert and attentive when we are in a place that we do not understand. And if we can't explore the problem now, if we can't resolve it now, and it's an unknown outcome, we're going to obsess over it. And so what that means is Well, if it's an unknown outcome, like, am I going to get the job? Is this person going to say yes when I ask them out on a date? Is this person going to scam me, or am I going to get my refund? Or is this symptom cancer, right? That, and like, the brain, the right hemisphere populates itself with imagistic representations of the problem, and we're trying to make sense of it, and hence why we continuously obsess over it. And so this obsession over a symptom is confusion. And the confusion is when meaning and fact are ill-defined. So it's when we build on a house, we develop wisdom. And after building the house, we extract out understanding, like Matthew Paggio says in his book, The Language of Creation. The emotion is a result of our perceptions, how we view the world, how we view ourselves, which then puts us into an alert state. And so this then produces bodily sensations, which can produce rapid heart beating, perspiration, shallow depth of field, shallow breathing, and panic attacks, depersonalization. And so that's the thing about depersonalization, is that if the changes in our lives are significant enough, it puts us in depersonalization, which is this separation in between ourselves. So we're looking at ourselves in third person. It's this protection response, because I'm so far away from what I understand and what I thought to be true that I don't know where I am right now. So it's like this detached state. And I found that to be particularly confusing when I was suffering from depersonalization. I didn't understand where I was and who I was, because I was so significantly far gone from what I thought to be true in my life and who I thought to be, and who I thought I was as a person. And so once I started to formalize what anxiety was and understand myself and how I got to this particular spot, I wasn't able to heal. And healing is a part of this journey of understanding one's self. And now the question is, do you confront your problems voluntarily? Or do you retreat back into what's familiar? Even though what's familiar is like your safe zone, even though you're not feeling well in your safe zone, it's still your best bet. It may feel like it's your best bet, but it's certainly not your best bet. What your best bet is to slowly reach and stretch yourself out into the world, into situations where you deem to be uncomfortable, like the confrontation of the snake, and to slowly master that confrontation. And so then you build on your competency, and once you start to stretch this part of yourself out into the world, you're going to surprise yourself in a way where you say, I can't believe I confronted that and survived. And the brain starts to make these connections over time where, hey, Brad was in this situation where he felt panicky and uncomfortable. He stayed there, he survived. Well, maybe it's possible that he can survive the next time. And then once you do it the next time, it becomes more clear to your brain that you can survive, and you become more of your own best friend in a way when you do that. You become more capable and competent in that manner, braver. And that bleeds out into all areas of your life. You don't have to jump into all these fears at once, but once you pay attention to the one snake and conquer that one snake, the confidence and the competence will bleed out into all of these other areas that you fear in your life. And you're going to be more willing to venture in those directions. And dopamine plays a part in that as well, because the dopamine is the result of you progressing towards a goal. And when you see yourself progressing, it's going to motivate you to pursue other goals you deemed to be fearful or uneasy for you. And so and it's also important to give your problems a name. Name them. Write them out. What happened back there to make me so fearful? What are the problems now in my life? So I help my clients do this. It's a really important part of the healing process, is to list all the problems that are plaguing you. And it's surprising, or not so surprising to me now, where I would ask my clients, well, let's list off what's really concerning you. And they have like 3 or 4 or 5 things. And it makes sense to me, because one thing causes some anxiety. It's manageable, but having 5 things at the same time, that's going to send you into the complete chaos of the unknown. Too many snakes to grapple with all at one time. Which one do I pay attention to now? They're all there at the forefront of my perceptions. What do I do? And it makes sense why someone is in that anxiety response. But I'm here to tell you that you have to give them a name, list them off, and tackle them one at a time. So talking to somebody about it will help. Writing about each problem, why this is significant for you, what are the smaller snakes associated to one of those problems, and then what can you do about that? Potential ways of dealing with that. And once you start to flesh that out, which also involves sacrifice, because you're going to have to take some leaps of faith to actually solve the problem. That's the thing, right? They're not easy to solve. They're not like, well, if I write them down, I'm going to be able to release them in totality. It's like, yeah, that's part of it, but it's also sometimes there's a leap of faith involved. Jumping out of a relationship you're not sure of, jumping out of a job into another job that you're uncertain about, or taking a leap of faith with buying a house or moving somewhere. Understand what you're currently contending with by exploring the smaller snakes of your life, understanding what anxiety is. Because we all get bogged down by how we feel and the anxiety that we're feeling, but there's a reason why the anxiety is here. And that's the problems, what you're contending with. And you have to shine a light on that and have a voice in terms of naming what's ill-defined and of low resolution in your mind body. And that's where I'm going to leave you today on this video. I hope this makes sense and it makes your anxiety more clear. Rewatch this if it doesn't, because it's very complicated, but I think this will actually help you in your recovery journey. And lastly, rise above anxiety. I'll see you next time. Thank you everybody for being a part of this community. Please comment below. Also, give this a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because then you'll be the first to know whenever I release a new video.